Alrighty, guys and gals, what is going on, everybody? It's Big E from the cave. I've changed the one-on-one playlist to it's from the cave, okay? We're RPing the channel. It's an RP channel, kind of. It's a cave in the mountain, and I'm the king, and I'm coming from you from the cave. Look, that doesn't matter. This is in regards to our Lord of the Ring. It's not Lord of the Rings, it's Lord of the Ring, okay? Completely different. I have 2 episodes recorded on the Lord of the Ring challenge. One of them, I scrapped. The second one, finished, rendered, uploaded, was supposed to release today, which is Wednesday for me. This should release today on Wednesday. Was supposed to release today at 11 a.m. However, I was up, I'm not exaggerating, for a couple of hours tossing and turning last night trying to go to bed with all just this challenge in my head and the rule set, and it just wasn't sitting right with me. And I kind of rushed it a little bit. Like, I was working on this core rule set. By the way, if you don't know already, I've mentioned this several times, but I'm going to keep mentioning this. This idea was stolen from another YouTuber who goes by the name of Nixium. I'm a big fan of Nixium, and I saw he did this challenge a couple of years ago, and that was my inspiration for doing Season 1 of Lord of the Ring. And we're doing it again, Season 2. He's doing Season 2. I just steal shit. That's how I just steal. Look, so I've changed the rules up a little bit, but full credit goes to Nixium. He inspired me to do this. I'm a massive Lord of the Rings fan. I'm a massive World of Warcraft fan. I'm a massive Dungeons & Dragons fan, although I haven't played Dungeons & Dragons in a long time. Anyway. So I had a premiere on the channel. That was yesterday or day before, I can't remember. And we had some people drop by in the premiere. And thanks for stopping by. We had Duck stop by. We had Skyless Raven. We had Droin. We had Brandon. We had Boom Boomy. May have had some people lurking, but those are the only people I saw. And as I was hanging out with my people from the Misty Mountain Gaming family, I realized the rule set, some of it it wasn't jiving with me. It didn't feel right. The undead were way overpowered. Some races and classes didn't really have enough pros and cons to them. And I got a great comment from Skyless Raven. Thank you, Raven, because the undead was so overpowered with unlimited lives. He's like, why don't you base it on a dice roll? And I was like, that's brilliant. So I changed the rules again. Now, you guys didn't see any of this, and I did a whole other thing, which I'm not releasing, where I was going to give the undead, you roll a 6-sided die. Whatever you roll is how many resurrections you get. So if you roll a 1, you literally can res that one time, and that's it, so on and so forth. Then I got another great comment from Bubba, and I'm going to actually pull this up. This is what kind of really got me thinking. Let me back out of this. Back. Here he is. I'm going to pull this comment up. He says, I was a little disappointed in the fact that no elves of either faction were allowed for this new version. So I've changed the rules a couple of times, right? And he said, the undead should not be a playable race in this version due to Lord of the rules, the Lord of the Rings. And I agree, Bubba. This is what I was looking for, and this is what I should have done right off the bat. I should have maybe live streamed, and we could have honed and fine-tuned these rules in. But especially that comment particularly really got me thinking, and he's right. It doesn't make any sense. There are no undead in Lord of the Rings. So I have reworked the rule set. Now, I know there's at least one person who has started this challenge, Duck Lord. Keep doing what you're doing, man, because the rules aren't much different. I started a character on the Ashkandi server in Classic era. And I'm just not going to air that. Now, there actually is a clip I might air because we actually ran into Duck Lord. Hey, Duck. We had both rolled troll hunters. And he was in the same place. And my mind was blown when I was doing this. He was trying to RP with me. I didn't even know he was RPing because I was like, how in the hell did he know I was on here and blah, blah, blah. I'm probably going to use that because what I had to do is a voiceover. So this is the way it went down. The very first episode I did, there was no audio. And the reason there was no audio is because of this thing. Now, you're probably thinking, that is the coolest thing that I have ever seen. And you're right to think that way. This is the dice cam. These are dice. This is a die tower. This is the King's Goblet. This is a sexy-ass gargoyle. This is the dice cam. Now, all this is just a cheap camera that I bought specifically for this challenge. Also, we're going to use it for other things that we'll get into later. Members only? Fans only? No, Drew. Drew just looked up from his phone. He's like, what the fuck, man? Yeah, anyway, so this webcam that I bought, I did not realize. Now, this is a cheap webcam. It's just 1080p. I literally paid $22 for it. But it's decent. It's decent enough for a webcam, right? It's got a light on it and everything, little tripod, blah, blah, blah. I did not realize it had a microphone built into it. So the whole first episode I did, and again, I was so excited and rushed and I was doing this, it overwrote my Yoto mic. So that the camera is over here and you could barely hear any dialogue or game sounds the entire video. And I was so disappointed. I started to do a voiceover. I was like, I can't put that crappy quality out. So I redid the video. I redid that second episode and I did it the same day. The mic is fixed on the dice cam. And then I got the comments that later that night. And so this is all working in my mind. So I've redone it. I'm restarting the challenge and we're going to do it here. Some of these episodes I might do live streaming. We'll take Saturdays probably and we'll do guild stuff between Wrath and Retail because we did start a Retail guild as well. And then Sundays I might do this Lord of the Ring challenge a little bit, some of the early stuff, but I've got to be focused, man. I've got to be focused. If I'm reading chat, I'm going to die because it is a hardcore permadeath challenge. Now, if you're already doing this particular challenge, keep doing it. Do not be disappointed because I am going to roll on the Ishgandi Classic Era server. The only RP servers in Classic Era are also PvP servers, and that is a death sentence. But Duck has inspired me. We ran into Duck Hunter. That's his troll. And he inspired me to do some RPing. I'm going to try to stay in character while we're doing the challenge as far as interacting with NPCs and especially players if we run into them. Now, my role-playing game, there was a time where I was kind of into role-playing, and I used to work a dwarf hunter. That's all I'll say. I used to work a dwarf hunter. When I say work it, I mean I was on an RP server, and I was trying to get into that whole scene. And I got pretty good for a while, but my RP skills are rusty. I also suck typing on the keyboard. Now, if you're doing the challenge, just keep doing it. We can still run into each other. And I do apologize, but I just could not, in good conscience, do the challenge under the rule set that I had created. And since I already basically kind of messed up twice, I figured, you know what? I'm wiping the slate clean here. So let's turn this off. Don't worry, we'll be back, sexy dice cam. Where we're going now, let's go live here. I'm going to review the updated rule set here. And it's not a big difference, but it makes more sense to me to play it this way. Okay. We need to do that. Okay. Now, I've already been in my like I've been through these probably 5 or 6 times, different versions and things. So I'm just going to kind of brush over these because I already had the premiere that came out. So I'm just going to point out the differences in this rule set. All of this is the same. We are playing on classic era. Now, I didn't specify that in the premiere. It's another thing that I jotted down. You start this challenge. What you're going to need is a 20-sided dice. That's all you're going to need for this challenge is a 20-sided die. If you roll even, you're going to play as the Alliance. If you roll odd, you're going to be forced to play as the Horde. Don't re-roll. Just go with what you get, man. Just let the fate of the die determine what you're going to do. Now, let's go through all of the pros and cons for races and classes before you choose your class, okay? Okay. Okay. If you roll even in your Alliance, you have been chosen by fate. Your single purpose is to find the One Ring. What is the One Ring? The One Ring is the very first equipable ring that you come across. As far as I know, there's only one ring that you get that's not immediately equipable. And I'm probably wrong. There's probably more. But I'm talking about the first ring that you can put on. Do not put that ring on your finger. If you equip the ring, the Dark Lord immediately knows where you are. Sauron sends his ring wraiths in your history, okay? Just keep it in your bag. Now, what's different between Season 2 and Season 1 is, in Season 1, as soon as we found the ring, we had to go, no matter what level we were, into Black Rock Mountain, and it was a nightmare. You can watch Season 1. I died hella times trying to get in there because I think I was like level 16 or something. I don't remember. All right. Now, if you have rolled odd and you are the Horde, you have the same. You're searching for the ring, just like the Alliance. You are searching for that ring, but Sauron has specifically commanded you to bring the ring to him. You're not going to destroy the ring. Same rules, though, but you need to go to Black Rock Mountain, okay? Now, here's the core rule set, and I'm going to point out the differences. There's no longer an asterisk here. This is permadeath. It's a hardcore permadeath challenge. Professions are allowed. Any benefit from those professions are allowed. All buffs, potions, scrolls, etc. are allowed. And I was tinkering with having potions and scrolls just for mana users, magic users, but I've elected not to do it because I started to get I went down some long, deep, dark holes with specifics, and it just got really too complicated. Also, I think there's a link in this video. I have a very, very cheap character sheet that I've created here. Let me pull this up. I'm actually looking for somebody to make a better character sheet for me. If we have any artists out there, let me just show you the basic thing that I have here. I mean, this is horrible. Okay. Horrible. Can't really see it. This is all we need. Just actually, so all this can actually go. If you can make a character sheet with just this, right? You've got the D20 result up here. Get my ass out of the way here. Race chosen, class chosen, character name, then restrictions, little note section, saving throw area right here, and then professions. If somebody can make a character sheet, make it, just share it on Google Docs or put it into Discord. Please and thank you. Have your character sheet ready. Just jot it down on a piece of paper, right? Not that big of a deal. So everything goes there. There is a journal penalty. You can only repair your gear once every 5 levels. Now, I've never even done this. I'm just so in the habit of repairing gear whenever I'm near a vendor. So I don't know how this is going to play out. However, if in those 5 levels your gear breaks, you have to delete it. Take it off, delete it. You cannot repair. You can repair gear that is not broken yet, you know, yellow or whatever, but delete it when it breaks, if that is a thing. In Classic, I don't even honestly know. Now, food. You can only eat food that you cook, so you are going to need to learn cooking as soon as you can. You can learn professions at level 5, but you're probably not going to have the money to do it because I believe the secondary professions are 10 silver. I think that is the thing. I could be wrong, but learn cooking. Now, if you pick up drinks, those are fine. Okay, if you pick up drinks, you can drink those. I don't know why, but that's just how we're going with it. But as far as cooking, I want this RP. I want a campfire. I want you cooking your own food. So you might want to pick up fishing, right? And harvest those meats from the animals. There is no auction house. There is no trading. There are no mailboxes. You cannot send gold to this character from another character. Now, this is a difference here. Thank you, Nixium. I am allowing groups, but only for orcs and only for dwarves, right? Think about Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit. Dwarves travel in these bands, right? They're kin. Orcs travel in war parties. Orcs and dwarves are allowed, so you could do this with a friend, a guildmate, or whoever. However, you would have to get lucky with the dice. You'd have to both roll even or both roll odd. Now, you could obviously fudge it and do it however you want, but I'm just saying, orcs, dwarves, you can group up. Everything else, you cannot group up. Now, here are the races allowed, and you're going to have to allow me some leeway and use your imagination here. So I had to think a little bit about this one. So for the Alliance, everything basically works. If you're thinking about Lord of the Rings and the Tolkien universe, they're humans, they're dwarves, they're elves, and there are hobbits. We're going to think of gnomes as hobbits, okay? Think of gnomes as hobbits. Now, for the Horde, it was a little bit tougher for me. If you look at an orc in the movies, the Lord of the Ring movies, I'm not talking about the classic books and some of the 70s animation. There's a difference, a big difference, actually, between how they were portrayed in the movies, Peter Jackson's version, and the books. To me, these look like goblins from The Hobbit, from the Lord of the Rings, the trilogy and The Hobbit, right? These look like orcs, and these were trolls in the Lord of the Rings. So here's what we're going to do, okay? You need to think of the undead as the orcs in Lord of the Rings, okay? Just try to, like I said, just use your imagination. Undead, think of them as orcs, because let's be honest, the undead look like the orcs from the movie, in my personal opinion. That's as close as you can get. The orcs, we're going to think of as Uruk-hai, okay? Now, these are, Sauron created those, right? The base of his tower. They're actually called something else. There's some lore about these. They're actually called Ulug-hai. So undead are orcs. Orcs are Uruk-hai, okay? Slightly higher intelligence. They are the party leaders. These lead the orcs, right? You watch those movies. These are a special race that was created. Now, the trolls, I couldn't do anything with. Taurens do not fit in here. They don't mesh very well. I mean, if anything, they might resemble bulk-wise a troll from Lord of the Rings. But this is a troll in Lord of the Rings, in the movies, okay? And again, a little bit different here if you're in the book descriptions and some of the early films, the animated movies. So just forget about the picture. We'll just view trolls as trolls, okay? So undead are orcs, all right? So when I refer to undead, picture this in your mind. And when I refer to the Uruk-hai, these are different race, okay? I know it's a little confusing, but I was trying to get these to mesh and gel and line up so that it makes more sense. Because I do agree with Bubba, undead should not really be a thing. These are orcs. Now, class restrictions. I had to redo this, and I spent a little too much time on it. I'm still not quite happy with it, but this is what I've come up with. So, all of the races are playable for the Alliance. Humans, here are the restrictions, though, can only be warriors or mages. Okay? I guess think of, think of the humans, right? They're all warriors, but some can be wizards or possess. They could do magical things, whatever, okay? They're warriors or mages. At first, I didn't even have mage at all. I just had, they can only be warriors, and I was thinking about rogues. But I was trying to break this up and split everything up. So I want to touch on Lord of the Rings, but I also want to keep it based also in World of Warcraft, because obviously we're playing World of Warcraft. So warriors or mages only. Dwarves can be warriors or hunters. You notice every single race can be a warrior, okay? Elves can only be warriors. And I was going back and forth with this one for a while, but I've just decided elves are warriors. Gnomes, again, hobbits, can be warriors or rogues. Think of a rogue as a thief, right? Bilbo Baggins, the thief. That's how he was hired on into the party. But also, hobbits can have this incredible sense of bravery, especially when their kin are in trouble. So warriors or rogues. Orcs, the undead character, can be warriors or warlocks. And the only reason I chose this is because I'm trying to balance this out a little bit with the human up here, right? The Uruk-hai, obviously just straight up warriors. They are the band leaders. They lead the orcs into battle. And something just occurred to me. If I'm going to allow, if you have selected an orc, the Uruk-hai, you can get into a party with undead as the leader. That makes a lot of sense, right? So, but they can only be warriors. Trolls can be warriors or hunters. So I tried to represent all of the playable classes as best I could, but still limiting them. So this is what you have. So don't choose your race or your class just yet, because we have class-specific restrictions. Warlocks. If you choose to be a warlock, you cannot use your soul stone. Obviously, this is permadeath. You can only use your imp. You cannot use the Void Walker, the Fellhound, Succubus, none of that. Only the imp, and you are not allowed to pick any fire abilities, which isn't that big of a punishment, because if you look at the classic warlock ability, I think 90% of them are probably shadow. Okay, but this is like emulate, whatever, those fire abilities, not just use your shadow abilities. Rogues cannot use stealth after finding the ring. Okay? So I went back and forth with this. Initially, I said they can use stealth. They can't use stealth, but they can use vanish. And then the second version, I was like, they can't use stealth at all or vanish. Now I'm saying you can use stealth and vanish up until the point where you find the ring. And then you cannot use stealth. After you find that ring, you can't sneak into Black Rock Mountain to destroy it, and you can't use vanish. Very important. Now, if you're playing a mage, as the undead, you must spec 100% fire, so these did not change. Wait a minute, let me make sure. Undead and human? Warlock. Okay, right. Get rid of this. Ignore that one. Undead cannot be mages, just human. So, we'll ignore that one right now. I forgot to change this. Humans can be mages. Yes, they can. So, if you're a human mage, you must spec 100% frost, and you can only choose 4 abilities ever on your bar. So, if you want conjure water, or if you want frost armor, make sure you choose carefully, because once you have 4 abilities, you can't get rid of one and then train a new one to put on the bar. Once you pick, that's it. So you may have to go with just 3 and skip an ability until you get level 20 and you get that blink or whatever that you might want. Choose carefully. Now, warriors, they can only wear gear that they craft, which means they're going to have to be blacksmith. I guess they could be leather workers as well, but I think you would probably want to go blacksmith because they can wear mail and plate, right? Your starting gear and your weapon is okay to keep. However, all gear upgrades, not your weapon, but any gear upgrades that you might get from a quest reward or drop, you are now not allowed to equip. You have to sell those. You have to make your own gear. If you get weapons as quest rewards or items from mobs, you are allowed to use those. No restrictions on the weapons, just the gear. Now, hunter, I love this one. The pet is permadeath for a hunter, which just is dwarf or troll. If your pet dies, you have to tame a new one, tame those new abilities, make sure you've got the right food. He's got to get the loyalty levels back, all of that stuff. Racial pros and cons. Here we go. Gnomes, I hope this still makes sense, can only use daggers and they cannot wear shoes. Get rid of your shoes right off the bat. Okay, gnomes are hobbits, right? So gnomes can be warriors or rogues. So think about that. As a warrior, if you're a gnome, you have to use daggers. You can't use swords. Get rid of your shoes. Dwarves, they can only have 2 bags ever. They cannot have more than 2 bags. Now, the bags can be any size, and you can replace your current bag. Not much of a restriction here, but, you know, it is what it is. They must drink every single alcoholic beverage they get from a quest reward. Anything that they've picked up, whatever, drink it. Doesn't matter how many stacks you get. Just a little RP fun here. Humans, after finding the ring, they must make a saving throw on the 20-sided die to resist the ring's power because humans are easily manipulated and corrupted by the ring's power. Everybody knows this. Humans, this actually needs to be an 8. I forgot to change this slide. Yes, here are the saving throws. If you are a human, you find that ring, you have to immediately roll that 20-sided die. If you roll a 7 or less, you have failed the challenge, and you can either just start over, re-rolling the dice, or you restart as undead. It's up to you. So I have to change that. Now, the orcs, the undead in World of Warcraft, but we're thinking of them as orcs because they look like orcs in Lord of the Rings. They are low intelligence, which means they cannot learn higher than rank 4 spells or abilities ever throughout the entire challenge. Orcs, the Urukai, and the Night Elf. I'm giving, these are pros, these aren't cons. I'm giving orcs, the Urukai, just pure, a gift of 1 res is allowed. Of something I'm making up myself called Immortal Rage. You think they're dead, they're lying dead on the battlefield, they have this incredible warrior heart, they're able to live. Don't call it a resurrection, but they're able to survive. You are allowed 1 resurrection. The Night Elves, they have the gift of Galadriel. I'm just making this up, but I think we know who Galadriel is, right? One of the wisest, most intelligent, beautiful creatures in the entirety of the Tolkien universe. 1 res allowed because of the gift of Galadriel. Trolls can only use bows and axes, and they must sleep outside. You cannot sleep indoors in an inn. And the reason for my thinking here is because I went Lord of the Rings here. In the books, you read The Hobbit, trolls, I don't know about all trolls, but I know the troll that the trolls that the party runs into, they capture them, put them in bags, they're going to cook them and eat them. Bilbo, being smart, messes with them until daylight comes and they turn to stone. Now, I was trying to think of a daylight punishment that I could use here, and it doesn't really make sense that this is a thing. You would think, well, would they want to sleep inside then? Well, they can't because they're trolls, okay? So just use your imagination here. I almost said you have to find a cave to sleep in, but this is a permadeath challenge, and caves are filled with monsters, right? You don't want to be logging out in a cave to sleep. So I had to let that go. But because trolls start using bows and axes, I had to do something to kind of punish them. So there it is. Now, you can choose your character at this point, right? You've been taking notes, you've got your character written down. Here are the saving throws to fill in on that saving throw line. Humans have to roll 8 or better because they are just really easily corrupted by the ring's power upon finding it. Now, one thing I didn't mention, every 3 levels for all races, you have to roll your saving throw to resist. Doesn't matter if you're playing for the Alliance or playing for the Horde. You can be tempted by that ring. Humans, I guess it says basically in Lord of the Rings, they're easily corrupted by the ring's power. Isildur, right? Pretty sure that dude got corrupted, put it on. 8 or better. Undead, again, these are orcs. 7 or better, because they're not quite as intelligent, right? They have lower intelligence. Elves, 7 or better. This probably should be lower, should probably be a 6. But I just felt like elves are, like Galadriel goes through a torment session. She obviously overcomes, but she was testing herself, so I just figured I would put them here. Dwarves and gnomes, I think, are a little bit more resistance. Dwarves and hobbits, I should say. I don't know actually about dwarves, but 5 or better. Same thing with the Urukai and the trolls, 5 or better. These are your saving rolls. Whatever you've chosen, write it down. If you're human, you've got to make that saving roll right away when you find the ring. All classes, every third level. So make a note after you find it. If you are a dwarf, you find the ring, okay, I'm level 15. I've got to make my saving throw level 18. Challenge is completed when, as the Alliance, you have taken the ring into Blackrock Mountain without dying. Go to the very lowest point, pull up your bag, take that ring, delete it. Okay? If you want to do a /time played, take a screenshot, post it in Discord. I'd love to see it. If you're playing as the Horde, take it up to the floating rock structure in the middle where you go into the instance, just anywhere on there. Open your bag, show the ring, do a /kneel. You don't destroy the ring, right? Just keep it in the bag, /kneel. You are offering this to Sauron himself. You can do a /played. I'd love to see that thumbnail. And that is it. So here's what I'm going to do. We are going to roll the character right now. We're going to do this right now. And then we're going to start playing the character next time. We're going to choose a normal server, medium population. It is Ashkandi. If you are looking to do this, I did delete the troll that I rolled because I'm starting new here. I want the music on. Let's turn the music on. Here we go. Let's do this. I'm going to turn the dice cam on. You guys ready for the dice cam? We're ready, Big E. We're ready. 20-sided die. This camera is kind of cheap. I drop it in. What did we get? We got a 12. It's really blurry on that camera. It's a 12. There, we got a 12. Trust me on the dice roll, we did get a 12. Now, I'm still open to suggestions on how we could use these dice. Well, we're going to be using them every 3 levels anyway, right? So we're going to be using the dice cam quite a bit, but I need to turn off the dice cam for right now. 12 is even. That means we are playing as Alliance, which means I can play any of these characters. Now, I need to open this back up. Now, I have to choose my race and my class. Now, humans can be warriors or mages. Dwarves can be warriors or hunters. Elves can be warriors. Gnomes can be warriors or rogues. What do I want to do here? I kind of like the idea of playing as a hobbit. I think we're going to go gnome rogue is what I'm going to choose here. A thief, right? We're playing as Bilbo from The Hobbit. So I'm just writing it down right now. I'm going to put hobbit, rogue, thief. What does that mean? I'll tell you what that means. So now I'm going to fast forward here. Lord of the Rings, the class specifications for rogue. I cannot use stealth at all. So in my notes section, no stealth after finding the ring. I can use it before is fine. And that's it for rogues. However, they do have the racial. I can only use daggers, which works pretty well for gnomes, right? No shoes. And that's it. Those are my restrictions. It's not that harsh, but it's permadeath. What is my saving throw? My saving throw as a gnome is 5 or better. My pen just ran out of ink. 5 or better. Every 3 levels, so I don't have to do the initial roll when I find it. So here we go. That's not going to work, Bilbo Baggins, okay? We're not Frodo yet, we're Bilbo. Rogue, let's get this going on. I think we want to be just kind of, we spend time in the garden, right? This face is not going to work for us. We need something a little less dramatic. We need some hair. We might go with that. I'm not digging green. We're going to go here. We're a young hobbit. Facial hair? Hobbits don't have facial hair, do they? I don't think that they do. This is us right here. Now, what am I going to name this character? I know it's already taken, so I'm going to use a special character because that's what I do when I want what I want. We are Bilbo. We have done it. We are a Bilbo. We are a Bilbo. We are a hobbit. We are hired on as a thief. We have to find the ring. This is Bilbo's Quest. We are on the Ashkandi Classic Era server. And we're going to do this. And I'm going to live stream the first episode Saturday or Sunday. I have not decided. I'll leave it open to you guys. Okay? It shouldn't be that tough in the starting zone for me. But I still have to pay attention because in Classic Era, the starting zones do have hostile mobs. So I may miss chat. I'm going to warn you right now. Now, as we go further and further, and I'm in areas that are less easy, more difficult, however you want to word it, I probably may not live stream all of those, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, that is it. I look forward to this weekend. And again, sorry for changing the rules. Sorry for starting over. Sorry for the trouble with the mic and all that. This does feel better, and I am still open to suggestions. And if you can think of something where we can use these dice in other ways throughout the challenge without really changing too much of the core rule set, I'm wide open to it. Maybe we roll to, if we're in an area, maybe we have to find a remote place where there are no mobs, build a campfire, and we have to camp, and maybe the dice determine that. I don't know. If you want to create a cool-looking character sheet, I'd be completely down for it. Absolutely. You can share things like that using Google Docs easily, or whatever you want to use. Anyway, that is going to be it for me. I look forward to playing Season 2 here. And since I am a hobbit, I cannot group. But if I see you guys out there, if I see dwarves out there, definitely do some RP, okay? Duck Lord, if you're still doing the challenge, keep doing it, man. Keep using the rule set. I'm all about it. I think it's a good class, good race. I love the restrictions for that first rule set. It should be exactly the same, honestly, because of what you're playing. But if you're interested in doing this, take some screenshots or whatever, let me know in Discord. And if I can remember, I'll put a link to Discord, the Misty Mountain Gaming Discord, in this video, along with my really horrible character sheet. Roll your characters. Let me know what you choose. Let me know what you choose. And let's get this started. Thanks for watching. You guys and gals take care. I will see you this weekend on the live stream. Peace.